Samantha settled in her airplane seat and prepared to take a nap. She'd been up all night saving the life of that ungrateful asshole Keller, and she was dead tired. Only she couldn't seem to get comfortable. She couldn't get Keller's bruised and battered face, his one good eye blazing at her, out of her mind. Why was that? He's an asshole, she told herself uneasily. He was just trying to scare you. Forget it. Forget him and his whole crazy town and everybody in it. Well, except for her twin, Sadie, that was. How in the world her sister, who had always been the most stable, sedate person in the world, with the most boring, normal life anyone could imagine, had gotten herself mixed up in the plot of a real-life monster movie, was more than Samantha could comprehend. Or no, the shifters weren't monsters exactly, she supposed. It was more like they had an animal side, one which could literally come out in the open on full moon nights. And somehow, now, her sister was one of them. According to Sadie, she could now change into a beautiful doe to complement Mathis's huge, scary, prehistoric buck. The buck Samantha had seen the night before. She was still trying to forget the image of her sister's new boyfriend, mate, or whatever he was, changing from a human into an animal that had been extinct since the last ice age. Of course, Keller changing into a cougar the size of a draft horse had been pretty damn impressive, too. Not to mention terrifying. Samantha still shivered when she thought of the 6-inch fangs and deadly claws he sported in that form. He was scary enough as a man. He had to be 6'7" if he was an inch, with the muscles to match his large size. But as a cougar, well, he was in a whole different league. It had taken all Samantha's courage the night before to approach the massive beast Keller had changed into after Mathis's buck had trampled him almost to death. Sadie had tried to warn her that he might be dangerous, that a wounded beast was far more deadly than a healthy one. Samantha had known her sister was right, but somehow she couldn't help herself. She had to save him. She still remembered approaching him, the huge, furry side with its tawny fur heaving for breath. His fur had been bloody, his immense body wounded, trampled, and torn. He'd been lying on his side, and the one eye she could see had rolled up to meet hers. It was the same silvery leaf green color as Keller's human eyes. In it, Samantha had thought she'd seen human intelligence. "I'm not going to hurt you, buddy," she had murmured, trying to make her voice soft and soothing. "Just want to take a look and see if I can help, okay?" To her surprise, the immense, furry head had nodded once, though it clearly hurt Keller to make the movement. That one surprisingly human gesture in the huge beast had given her the courage to put her hands on him and assess his injuries, which had been massive and traumatic. Samantha still didn't know how he had survived being so savagely trampled. One eye had been nearly torn from its socket. His liver had been lacerated. Multiple bones had been broken, and she was almost certain he was going to lose one of his kidneys. Still, he had hung in there, and today, after an 8-hour surgery, he was awake and trying to get out of his bed in the ICU to keep her from going to Vegas. Incredible. Too bad somebody can't bottle some of the shifter essence or whatever it is that makes them so freaking unkillable, Samantha thought, finally closing her eyes as the plane taxied down the runway in preparation for liftoff. Drug companies would make a fortune off it. Then the plane lifted into the sky, the G-forces pressing down against her entire body like a giant hand, and she gave a contented sigh. Unlike many people who have flight anxiety, Samantha had the exact opposite reaction to flying. Being up in a plane was usually quite restful for her. Maybe because she was in the one place where she couldn't be called in at the last minute to perform emergency surgery. Just knowing that she was out of reach and completely free of any obligations relaxed her completely. This flight was no exception. Pushing the thoughts of her troublesome patient and her sister's new, strange situation out of her head, Samantha took a deep breath.